Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire. How are you, my friend?
Doing awesome. How are you?
Very good.
Welcome.
Where are you hanging out today? What is that behind you?
This is, well, we're just in the penthouse. So it's just one of the places that we hang out on a regular basis and hanging out here with you and your peeps.
I love it. So I'm going to go Facebook Live in a second. Paul, so for anybody listening, you are not just a successful person. You're not just a phenomenal gentleman.
Yes.
You're also my coach, right? So you've helped me double my income for the last 2 years. Something that is something you like just base your entire business on is that you can help people double their income. And people ask, why have I continued with you? It's because I still want to double my income. So, Paul, what is it?
It never stops.
No, and what is it that got you into doing this in the first place? Like, what made you say, you know, I've got to double my income? What was that part that made you start for you? Because I know before you taught it to us, you had to do it yourself. What drove you to do that?
Yeah, it's really amazing. What happened with me was that I was an entrepreneur, been an entrepreneur now for 35 years. I can't even believe it. And yet, you know, as an entrepreneur and a small business owner, you say, yeah, I've built success and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And everyone looks at you like, yeah, you've made it. Only I was playing less than. I was playing just barely making by. I was doing okay, only not to the magnitude that I now know is my fullest potential. I was playing just enough. And that's where most of us, I think, exist, is that, oh, well, we got our bills paid. We got going. We built so that people give us some accolades, and yet we didn't really stretch. We didn't really step into the game. And well, then life hit me. Life hit me in multiple different ways, and specifically, I ended up with a extremely large family. I've got 6 children, 3 sets of twins. And
what'd you do wrong, Paul?
I'll just let that set for a minute, only I did everything right. We were blessed to have 6 children, 3 sets of twins come into our life, and it was the last 2 sets were 14 months apart. And so when the last set were born, we had 6 children under 6 years old.
Wow.
And I got to tell you that when you go from doing okay, and I had 2 children and we were doing all right, enough to go on vacation once a year and go out to dinner once a week, and that felt really good. You go from that to having 6 children, more than doubling your household size in the matter of almost a little over 1 year. It dramatically changed my finances, dramatically changed what was possible in our world. And we went from doing okay to doing really poor. And with no, you know, it wasn't like I did something different that destroyed my business. All of a sudden, we just didn't have enough money to survive. And so I had to get real with myself internally, as well as get real with what I was doing in the vehicle I was moving in, and started looking at how do people build wealth? How do people really build structure in their world that creates abundance in the financial world? And one of the major ways was real estate.
Real estate.
And
I love it.
And it was so obvious when you look over the millennium, the major wealth is built through real estate. And it doesn't matter what part of the country, it doesn't matter what world you grew up in, real estate is always the mainstay of one of the most valuable resources you can grab hold of. And so I got clear with that and started in the pathway of real estate investing and got pretty darn good at it very quickly.
So obviously you jumped ahead, right? So you're very good at this already. So my next question is usually, hey, you know, how'd you get into real estate? You got into real estate because you just needed to make money. You were making decent money. You're making $100,000 a year when you had your kids. So
right, but $100,000 a year with a family of 4, you feel pretty good. $100,000 with a family of 8, that is poverty level, or maybe a squeak above. It really is. You qualify in Fairfield County, Connecticut, which is where I live. I would have qualified for food stamps, $73,000 a year.
Yeah.
With a family of 8. So this was absolutely, I had to do something different, had to create a difference in my world. And so,
And so real
financial
estate.
world. Yeah.
So what drove you to real estate as far as how did you hear about it? How did you find out real estate was the way to go? And from that point, what was the first deal that looked like? What did the first deal look like? How'd you get into it? Just walk us through some of those stats.
Yeah. How much time do we have?
Yeah. We've only got about 25 minutes. We want to keep this short and sweet.
So here's key. I will tell you how I got introduced to it. So I started, when I say researching, I started opening up my ears and eyes to possibility. And that's really where most people need to start, is just open yourself up to the possibility of new stuff in your world. And so I was open to, well, what could be the thing? And then I heard, of all things, I heard a radio ad for Carlton sheets. And I was like, wow, this is it, honey. And now I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. When I go to my honey and go, this is it, and I'm talking about a radio ad I heard, what do you think her response was?
Yeah, I'm sure she was super supportive.
Oh, yeah. Been there, done that. We could stop right now. And I said, no, honey, here's the thing. I am dedicated to it now. We've got children. We've got a whole different world. I've got to learn and figure out how to support all of this and more. This is it. Yeah. And we had a really major discussion on investing. And for me at the time, this investment was the end all to be all, where I was putting it on my credit card and it had to be collected. I had to create success, or we were going to be even in worse challenges. Yeah. The magnitude of the price tag on this program, $800. $800 almost stopped me from having this life. Yep. Almost stopped me from creating the magnitude in my world. Yep. Because it was a major decision. And I get when people talk about getting into my programs now and getting involved in coaching or training or getting information to their doorstep. And I get that they hesitate because I was there. And this was a major decision. Spend $800, man, and get this information. And then what? Are you really going to apply it? Are you going to do something with it? I dedicated to my wife, and we came up with an agreement, a 12-month commitment that this was it. Yep. And I was going to get real. And I grabbed hold of that training. And that was the beginning. Only I grabbed hold of training after training after training after that, and spent a magnitude of money on my growth, on who I am, on me. The best investment you could ever make.
Benjamin Franklin. Yep.
Yourself. And so I invested in me. I invested $800 and more. And even with the Carlton Sheets program, I got my first deal.
From one program, from starting out. And obviously that's
one program.
Yep.
Oh, but here's the key. You've actually got to listen to it. Yeah. You've got to listen to it. So I listened to it from start to finish. It was 21 CDs. 21 CDs that I listened to every word twice. Then I got busy. And I did all this in a very short period of time. I got my first deal under contract within 30 days of getting that CD set in my hands.
Yep.
Got my first deal under contract because it was massive action. Good question.
How did you consume all of that content twice in 30 days and then act on it in 30 days? Like, how did you get it all in and then put it to work? Because this is one of the, as a trainer, this is one of the things I want to enact in my people. What is it you did to get all of it into your head?
One of the things that I've experienced over my time, and one of the things that I think is a mistake for many, is that they believe that when they read something, that they've got to internalize it, get it, understand it completely before they can move forward and absorb more. Right. And I've learned that process doesn't work internally. It doesn't work for me, and it doesn't work for a lot of people. What works is the submersion of the information. You don't learn, you don't go to kindergarten or first grade and learn what you learned there, and then stop until you've perfected that before you go to second.
Right.
You get it, you grab hold of what you can, and then you keep moving forward. Well,
Exactly.
that's what I figured out how to do. And I remember reading material. I'd be reading real estate books, and I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't get it. And I was dedicated to the end result. I was dedicated to figuring it out. Only I wasn't worried about, oh my God, did I understand this page or not? I just kept turning the pages.
Yep.
I remember it was somewhere around page number 600 that I went, eureka. And it takes that long. And so the same thing with what I learned with Carlton Sheets, it was all those audios. I just listened and just did binge listening to all of it, and then started again and binge listened to all of it again, so that I submersed myself in it. In about a week's time, I went through all 21 hours twice.
That's
and it was
powerful.
a complete submersion that by the end, you're like, okay, I get this piece of it. And then you've got to put it into action. You've just got to apply.
Yep.
And that's one of the things I did. And I did that massively. And so I applied. It's like, okay, they told me, go look at pieces of property, go look at real estate, look at deals, analyze the numbers. Here's the plug and play on how to analyze the numbers. I analyzed over 100 deals in 30 days.
It's powerful.
That was my first 30 days to get one.
Yep.
To get one property. And most people, I have a sales background, so I started in straight commission sales in the medical field. And sales teaches you one valuable lesson, and that is it's always a numbers game.
Yep.
That numbers mean something, and it's a numbers game. So if you look at one deal and it doesn't work out, a lot of people go, you see, I told you this doesn't work. You have to look at 100 to even get into the game of statistical significance. So I looked at 100 to find 10 deals that were okay, that I could start taking a look at, that looked like they could really be something, to actually close on one.
Yeah.
However, that one deal made me over $300,000.
Wow.
I think I was hooked.
Yeah,
And
that's
thing.
like, all right, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Here's the missing piece. And I tell that story from stage, and people are like, yeah, and then they go out there and they're like, I want to do what Paul did. I want to make $300,000 in 30 days. I did not cash the check in 30 days. I made it in 30 days.
Right.
Because, you make your money when you buy and you cash the check when you sell.
That's right.
Well, I sold it 2.5, almost 3 years later.
Yep.
And that's when I was able to cash in on the $300,000. All during those 3 years, struggling, supporting myself, really making sure that the system process worked, doing other deals, and really putting the matrix of the foundation together.
Yeah.
And then was able to cash in. In the meantime, other people were like, oh, I need to cash in. And they would look to really shortchange the whole scenario.
Yeah,
and get impatient and either check out or mess up the system because they wanted it now rather than trusting the process and knowing that it was going to come on the backside.
I love how honest you are about it. So that's one of the pieces that in real estate, there's so many gurus out there saying, yeah, you can make your money this way, do this, you're burning through it. And you're very real about it, saying, hey, by the way, it came later, but we made our money on the purchase. We're aware that net worth went up that day, and we're okay with capitalizing it later, and that this is a game of cash flow, which is not a lot. Cash flow is not a crazy amount until the debt is paid off. No. When the debt's paid off, the game changes. But when you're acquisitioning in the beginning, it's really a slim margins game with a big payoff in the end, which you were willing to delay the gratification to be able to launch your family forward. So what happened next? How did you get into personal development? How did you get into the stage? How did you become the guy that I know, the Maverick Millionaire, doing things different?
So everything's a stage, everything's a process. And so step by step, that was my first deal. That first deal took some struggle and some magic to make happen. And I started doing deal after deal during that process. And after that, within the first 2 to 3 years, I did somewhere around, I think the final number was somewhere around $10 million in real estate over the first 3 years of my game. And
That's awesome.
and so much of it, people like miss massive action and the power of that. So I did massive action. I also figured out and I teach the highest and best use of your time. Really teach the understanding of time management. And I got clear with that. You know, doing the construction on the rehabs that I was buying that weren't supposed to be rehabs, but every property had some work that needed to be done. I didn't do it. I wasn't there cleaning up the apartments, getting them ready for the next tenant. I wasn't there even for the most part renting the apartments. I did deals. And then I would delegate. I would find the guy who would go clean it up. I would find the handyman to go take care of the nuances. I would find the realtor that would go and take care of the renting the property. I would be moving on to another deal, which is how I was able to accumulate so much in such a short period of time. I didn't get down and dirty into the things that would pay me less money.
Right.
Because my focus was developing a foundation of wealth, a foundation of abundance to support my family. It wasn't about, oh, you know, I got to feel good about myself because I'm doing all these things. No. And secret be told, I can't screw in a light bulb. So I already knew I had to like get real with letting go and delegating this stuff to other people.
Yep. I knew there was something special about you, Paul.
Oh, yeah. And so and here's the thing, when you, and so many people that are contractors and they've got a specialty skill set, they're plumbers or they're electricians or something, and they get into real estate investing, they're so apt to do the work themselves and they end up putting in all their profits in the sweat equity.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't who I was. I wasn't that guy. And so I negotiated the deals based on the fact that I was delegating everything to other people. And when you negotiate up front, knowing that's what you're going to be doing, you really get focused on where that profit's going to come from and make sure you're not trading sweat equity for it.
Yeah, you get good at the numbers.
Yeah, and so I got good at numbers, good at negotiations. It's one of the things that I also teach, and I know, Gualter, you're great at it too. It's negotiation sales. It's the cornerstone of almost every business, and yet it's the last thing that people want to learn. Make it one of the first, baby, because it'll really cash in on for you and make you the dollars.
Yeah.
So here I was, and I was dead.
No, the reason I signed up with you in the first place was some of the negotiating tactics that you were using. I was like, wow, if he can convince me, then he can convince anybody, and I want that skill in my pocket, right? So some of the stuff that you taught me, just in building teams and how to negotiate with myself, negotiate with other people, that's what attracted me to you in the first place. That's why I love hanging out with you, because I learn something new every time. So what happened next? So what drove you next?
So the transition happened was I now was real estate. I got my real estate license just to find out why most realtors didn't know what they were doing for real estate investors. You guys, you're doing the same thing. You're teaching realtors how to deal with real estate investors. Man, that's an edge for realtors, because most realtors have no idea how to deal with a real estate investor. They just don't speak the language. They don't know it.
Yep.
And so I got my real estate license. I then went and became a mortgage broker. And so I started doing the mortgage side of business. Why? Because I was doing deals anyway. And this was an easy way for me to create a stream of income for myself while I was building up my foundation in my real estate portfolio.
Perfect.
And so I was doing mortgages. So here I was, mortgage broker, had my real estate license, doing real estate investing. And I got invited to BNI. Are you familiar with it? Business Network International.
Yeah.
So, right. So great organization for certain things. And they were where I started. I got introduced to them. And so I got invited as a guest. And if you don't know BNI, what they talk about is on every little meeting or group that they have, it's one from each category. So it's one realtor, it's one mortgage guy, it's one plumber, it's one electrician, one insurance guy, et cetera. So one from each field is in the network, and no more is allowed. So here I am, and I'm invited to this group. And the day before, someone in the group was talking to me, and they're like, you're going to the group, only what are you going to present? You get to stand up and talk, only you're going to step on toes. We already have a mortgage guy. We already have a realtor. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'm pretty creative, and they call me the Maverick. They call me the Maverick because I approach things a little bit differently than most. I come at it with a counterintuitive approach to business and life. And this particular moment, lightning struck me. I designed this business, the business that I still have to this day. This was 15 years ago. This business I designed that afternoon. Mind Games is the name of my company. I designed Mind Games and created Mind Games LLC and went in there as a real estate investment coach. Was my very first inroads into coaching. And I went in there. Now, at the time, this was 15 plus years ago, no one had ever heard of a real estate investment coach. They didn't know what it was. They'd checked their little Rolodex, and they're like, nope, there's nobody here that has that. I guess you're in. And so here I am. I'm plugged into being part of the B&I group as a real estate investment coach, only because they had no idea what that was.
Wow.
So I stood up and I said, real estate investment coach, I can help you with your first deal, or I can help you with the second or third deal to get you really going and build your portfolio. Paul Finck, Mind Games, LLC. Thank you very much. And sat down.
Nope.
From that group, I got my first coaching client.
Okay.
And within a week, I got a $3,000 check. I went, I'm in. This works.
Yep.
And it really was, the concept of put it out there, just test things out, really play with it and apply it. Don't just keep it in your head. Don't just think about it. A lot of people think, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I designed it in the evening. The next morning at 8:30, applied it.
Yep.
That was it. Designed, applied, brought it to market like that.
Yep.
I brought it to market. Within the week, I got a check. Now, here was the thing. My first 3, 4, 5 clients were all real estate investors. And how I became the person I am now is I started asking them about and coaching them on real estate, only to find out they all knew more about real estate than I did. I'm like, why did you pay me? Because you knew more, they knew more about contracts, about clauses. I still to this day don't worry about all that stuff. It's not my matrix. Listen, you want to dissect a contract, go right ahead. I've got attorneys for that.
Right.
You want to make sure that all these pieces are in place as far as the laws and the structure and the appraisal and all this. Great. I've got people on my team for that. Mm-hmm. And so do you, that are fairly inexpensive to hire. You don't need to know all that.
Exactly.
So why did they hire me when they knew all these nuances and I didn't? They hired me because I actually created success and they hadn't.
That's right.
I actually got into the game and just did while they were on the sidelines still figuring it out.
Yep.
And so one of the things I realized early on is that it's not about the techniques, the strategies, the systems that you have.
Yeah.
It's about your mindset and how you approach life and business and how fast you get in the game.
Yeah.
And so I coach people how to get in the game, how to really take charge of your emotional intelligence, how to take charge of your processes internally to create abundance externally.
Yeah.
And with that, you're then able to delegate, you're able to bring on resources and tools like that. You're able to create abundance overnight, whereas other people are still trying to figure it out. And that's what I've done over the last 15 years is really get clear with the internal game that creates abundance on the external world.
And that's been what has separated me from the other investors in my demographic. We don't look at the competition. We look at how can we create more? How can we do more? And it's all about utilizing other people, partnering, right? The word strategic partner only came into my vocabulary from you because you're always telling me, look, you need a strategic partner. Go and get a strategic partner. Find somebody else who wants to do what you're looking to do and pay them. Give them a percentage, allow them to make some money and expand the company instead of doing something you're not good at. Paul, you've added so much value already just in this little bit, but I'm Gotta pull more out of you because that's, I know you're a giver. That's what you're looking to do. But before we do get some more advice, what is the easiest way for somebody to get in touch with you? I know you got a lot of events coming up. You're doing a lot of digital stuff lately. What is the easiest way to get in contact with you right now? What's a funnel you want to fill new investors or experienced investors to take it to the next level?
Probably the biggest thing is really grabbing hold of your time. It's one of the things that I've really paid attention to is my time management component. And so if you go down the path of getting this training, I've got a training, Maverick training series that is just phenomenal, that can really help you. And I bring you through 5 days of pieces of the puzzle, if you will, on really how to approach, analyze, structure your time and your world so that you can do more, accomplish more, create more in your life. And so that's a great place to start. It's a great place to get introduced to one another. And with that, you also are able to grab hold of a strategy call with me, which will really put you on fire and get you going. So rare opportunity to make all that happen. Should I give out the link? You just want to share it below?
I'm going to share it below because, by the way,
awesome.
Affiliate links. One of the things I learned from you and some of my other partners is always create an affiliate system, which Paul has. So I will put the affiliate link in the link below. So thank you, Paul. I appreciate
perfect.
You,
and so it's the Maverick Time training series, and it's there, and the link's right there.
All right,
absolutely key component for you. And go through that. You'll get a strategy call with me. You'll get some great training, and you'll actually get a platform to build on. So
what I like about it is during COVID right now, it's people getting control of their time. What you set up is, and we talked about this the other day on the mastermind call, what you set up is an opportunity to help people take market share now while there's huge opportunity. So you have so much time on your hands, you got to learn how to use it correctly. And a system like this is the time to do something like this. I love how you've pivoted to the market. You've created something that the market needs in the moment the market needs it.
One of the major things to realize is that we live in a world of change. And it's the players in the marketplace that can pivot quickly. It's the ones in the marketplace, no matter what period of time you're in, that can change and change with the times, that survive and thrive, versus the ones that we don't even know about anymore because they died off. They became the dinosaurs really quickly. And so don't be a dinosaur, be able to change. And always analyze what's going on in the marketplace and what do I need to do to shift to meet the market where it is, rather than demanding that they come and find me. I go and find where they are and go market in that space.
I love that. And what you gave to us yesterday in the mastermind was so powerful. It was a lot of that mission, a lot of that message. I have still my notes that we wrote down from yesterday, the principal targets. So we're pushing on everything that you implement. It's giving us new opportunities, right? Like knowing where the lenders are at, knowing where the properties are at, knowing where the shift in the market is taking place, and looking at it with a whole different approach. What you and Keith and the other Mavericks have given us in the mastermind calls, and then throwing in the additional ones that you've thrown in. Like yesterday's call, I wasn't expecting. And to be able to jump into that at a time where me and Ron were really looking at our business and saying what still works, what doesn't work, what can we shift into, where the opportunity is opening. Giving us that opportunity to really bounce ideas off of everybody yesterday was pretty powerful. So thank you for doing that with us. Thank you for your.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that, if I may, is the understanding that I added value to my mastermind group, and this was a surprise for you. Well, it was a surprise because it was a surprise to me. I went and analyzed the marketplace. I analyzed what was going on. I said, you know what, my group needs this. Let's add it to the calendar. And that was only about a week and a half ago. And so we added it to the calendar. We said, we've got to do this. Here it is. Let's put it out there, and created this space so that we could have that opportunity. And it was all because I recognized what the need base was and brought it to market based on what I was experiencing with that. So you read it, you develop it, and I got into action mode immediately. I didn't wait to have a consensus or see if it was okay or find space in my calendar. I demanded space in my calendar and made it happen.
You know what I love about that, and what I love about your system and program, and just the way you are, right? You, your family, Keith, your partner. What I love about that is we've already paid our money for the year. We've already paid you, and you've improved the program, something that we've already paid for. You've gone and improved. You've put more into it, adding more value and making sure that we're doing, you know, the right things for ourselves and our families. The fact that you go a little above and beyond, you know, we talk about DISC all the time, and I know you pride yourself on being a DI, you know, a decisive influencer. But I think at times that S that you came from, that stable, caring family person, it comes out in your business. And I think that the community feels it. You know, there's nearly 80 of us, if not more than that, in the community right now.
Yeah.
And you know, we're talking about the 100 millionaires, right? That's my goal, to build 100 millionaires. I wouldn't be on this mission if it wasn't for you, and you know, the culture and the community you've built. And I see a lot of the people in our group. You've already built your 100 millionaires, or you're building it. And you know, we're out here expanding the mission. So
yeah, we're there.
Yeah, it's powerful, and I wouldn't be on this path if it wasn't for you. So thank you.
It is only the beginning. It's only the beginning. And to realize the ripple effect of what I do to you do, what you're doing to others, and what they're doing. And I've looked at that, and it's one of the things that wakes me up in the morning. And I don't mean in a fright, I mean in a joy and a happiness. It wakes me up in the morning. It gets me moving, because I realize that if I hadn't shifted, if I hadn't changed, if I hadn't spent that $800 15 years ago, almost 20 years ago now, if I hadn't spent that money, we wouldn't be here right now. If I hadn't stepped up to be my most powerful self, we wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have the opportunity to change those 100 people.
Yeah.
That's key.
That's the stuff.
And so every single one of you owes it to the universe to step up and play your fullest potential, to be that person. Because think of all the people that are missing out every day you don't. It's millions.
It's powerful. It's powerful. Paul, I appreciate you for putting the mission out there. What are, and this is my favorite part of the video, what are the 3 pieces of advice you'd give to somebody who's starting out in real estate investing, or an agent, but starting out? And let's go back to young Paul, right? You're still young, you're still high energy. I know you're going to live to be 150 years old, because you're always putting that out there. But if you go back to 20-year-old Paul, you know, 20 to 30-year-old Paul, what 3 pieces of advice do you think would be the most profound and life-changing if you go back and give yourself that?
Great question. Number 1, believe. I spent most of my, at least half of my adult life not believing, not knowing that I had this inside of me. And what a shame, what a loss that I spent those 15, 20 years wallowing in insecurity, in self-pity, in questioning my attitude, my behavior, my approach, rather than just going with it. And I wasted a lot of years and suffered. And in turn, as we were just talking about, millions of people suffered because I didn't have the wherewithal to just believe that it was possible.
Yeah.
Second piece is dare to take the risks. Once you believe, take those leaps of faith. And most people believe it's a leap of faith. I'm here to tell you from the backside of it, it is leap of faith after leap of faith after leap of faith after leap of faith, and just keep going, because you're constantly looking, when you get it, you're constantly looking to move the line, to step up your game and move the bar even higher and higher. And there's no way to get from one bar to the next without taking that leap.
Yep.
And so I've gotten really good at it only early on. I remember in retrospect, huge opportunities that I shunned because I wouldn't take the risk, because I wouldn't take that leap of faith, that it got a little too scary, and was like, no, I'll just play it safe. Yeah. And especially, and what really drives me nuts is the younger generation. They're like, no, I want to play it safe because, I'm just figuring things out. I was like, that's when you double down on taking risks.
You got time.
More risks, right?
Nope.
And so really, and for all ages, man, take the chance. Mm-hmm. that's how you learn, that's how you grow, that's how you succeed, and that's really how you reach your fullest potential.
Yeah.
So you just gotta push the bar, take more risk. And let's see, I know there was a third one. Oh, this is huge. You gotta ask for help.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to say, and this is key, I want you to practice it in the mirror. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need help. Those two sentences, if I hadn't applied them in my 20s, I would have gotten so much more out of life and received the abundance that was around me. People were looking to help me. And I never even made one phone call. I never reached out. I never leaned on them because because I was the know-it-all. I got this. Because of my own insecurities, I couldn't say, I don't know. And that hurt me. That hurt my future. Absolutely get clear with the strongest, most powerful thing you can ever say, the thing that builds character strength, that is what the strongest people are able to say is, I don't know, I need help. That's power.
Yeah. That's how you build teams. That's how you find mentors. That's how you find coaches. That's what
Everything.
Useful in masterminds. Yep.
And you bring in the help that you need, because when you're the smartest guy in the room, you're doomed.
You're in the wrong room.
When you're in the wrong room, you need smart people. I've been blessed to have really smart people by my side that I lean on, that I grab hold of for advice. And with that, I'm able to excel and create more.
I love it. Paul, when is your next Zoom call? When is the next event coming up?
We've got May 21st coming up around the corner, and that is our Maverick Success Live sneak peek. You absolutely want to be there. It's going to be a full day virtual event, one full day virtual event, only me on stage. Amazing. And it's going to be just a powerhouse. We do Maverick Success Live, usually a 3-day boot camp. Yep. This is going to be taking some of the best components of what we train on and help really people get into action and move and create abundance. Nice. From that, as well as some new material that I'm creating right now that we're going to be bringing to the table. So awesome stuff.
Of course.
And really, you want to make change. You want to make an adjustment in your world. You want to create more. Be there for the one day. This is what we do. It is completely free, which is crazy. Completely free for you. So come, enjoy, grab hold of, use the information, change your life.
Awesome. Paul, that is exactly what I was looking for. So Maverick Success Live, I'm going to drop that link in below. And then the other one is time management. I'll drop that link in below. So Paul Finck, the Maverick Millionaire, I have been dying to get you on one of these calls for a long time. I appreciate you taking the time to do this with us. I have put so many of my students through your program, and they're seeing massive success. And so for me, I unashamedly sell and promote what you do, because it's created not just success for me, but success for my students as well. So thank you for continuously giving and helping me make my community a better place. I genuinely appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Cheers to your success, man.